It's time to talk sports. It's Hacksaw's Headlines, a panorama of the world of sports, stories, comments, and opinions. Now, here's iconic sports talk show host Lee Hacksaw Hamilton and co-host John Riley.
Who wants to talk sports on a Monday? We do. You do. From the DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Center studios in San Diego, coming off a great sports weekend, we welcome you to our Monday bonus podcast. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, along with my co-host, John Riley, broadcasting from the castle here in San Diego. We invite you to join us. Our Monday bonus podcast brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Centers, 9 locations to serve you in San Diego. If you've got projects, they've got materials, you want ideas, DIXIELINE can be your best friend and your consultant at home, at work, on the back patio, out by the pool. DIXIELINE Lumber. John Riley, good afternoon. What a huge week we have ahead of us. Here comes the baseball trading deadline. We got ourselves a baseball pennant race. We got NFL training camps, college football press conferences here, there, and everywhere. Man, there's a lot to cover.
Yeah, I mean, you came in here with your hair on fire coming from the San Diego State press conference.
We're going to go a lot of different directions. Just a couple of business notes. We do sports talk the way it should be done. There are a lot of topics that we put on the table. But then we open it up for you. If this were Sports Talk Radio, we'd be taking your calls. But because this is live stream podcast, we invite you to join us in the Fans Forum chat box. And we're going to hit a lot of hot buttons today. We want you to respond. How does the Fans Forum chat box work?
It's funny. Is there a chat box? I don't know. No, so if you want to get involved, you have a question for this guy, Hacksaw, this is what you do. You just get in the live chat on YouTube, X, or on Facebook and type in your question or comment there. We'll see it on our screen. We'll get you involved in Fans Forum at the conclusion of Hacksaw's Headlines.
Fans Forum comes up after we do the hot topics on the table. Be part of it. First-timers, long-timers, want you to be involved. You like sports? Have you sampled my website? I don't write all this stuff every day because I need practice writing it on my laptop. I write it because there's a ton of content there. Just go to the website. When we're done with this live stream, punch up my website, leehacksawhamilton.com. Read the best 15 minutes in sports. Read my one man's opinion columns. It's always there first thing every morning for you. We want you to share. Tell everybody what we do Mondays and Thursdays at 1:30. Subscribe. When you subscribe, you will get the alert, ding, 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 of unique and additional things that we put up on the YouTube channel. So want you to share and want you to subscribe. Want you to join my Twitter all-star team. Go join me on X on social media. Just type in my name, Lee Hacksaw Hamilton. Hit the follow button because that will allow you then to participate every time I write something on social media and take part in Hacksaw's mini polls because I value your opinion. I want to see what the fans out there who read us, who listen to us, who follow us have got to say. So there's an absolute ton of things that we do on social media. This guy got a lot of spare time in his hands. He's got me on every social media platform there is.
Dude, you're like a fire hose, man. I mean, you got so much sports content. I'm just scrambling to get it up online.
So we're ready to go. We're going to start topic 1. Baby, we got a pennant race.
Oh, all right. We're going to talk baseball to kick it off.
Let's talk baseball. Let's start with, obviously, Padre baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Trade rumors everywhere. And the Padres are opening a homestand after grinding through a 10-game roadie in heat and humidity. Only 4 games behind the first-place Dodgers.
Amazing.
It's absolutely amazing, considering the Padres, for the most part, have hardly hit. And the Padres got a beat-up pitching staff. The bullpen has saved their bacon during the course of the season. But now we're marching towards Thursday's 3 p.m. West Coast trade deadline and the burning question, what is A.J. Preller going to do? From my sources around Major League Baseball, this is what I've been able to dig up. The Padres tried really hard on the weekend to execute a trade with the Red Sox to get Jarren Duran. It was rejected emphatically. I was told the names involved Dylan Cease, the young catcher Ethan Salas, and a top AA pitching prospect. Red Sox said no. They don't want to rent Cease, who is really staggering through a bad season. They wanted Robert Suarez and Ethan Salas to be the cornerstones of the Duran trade, but the Padres were not willing to change the names in the deal, so that trade conversation stalled. They are talking to the Cubs at this hour, the Yankees at this hour, the Mets at this hour about a couple of month rental for Dylan Cease. They would want, obviously, young prospect. Cease has got $14 million on his contract. He's a walk free agent. There's about $6 million left on the contract. Somebody would have to accept that deal. The new name that they're talking to in terms of finding an outfield bat, Ramon Laureano, ex-Oakland A, Baltimore Oriole. Not hitting for average, but he's got some pop. They have had conversations with them sometime starting on Friday. Somehow, some way, people are of the opinion they're in the mix on Luis Robert of the White Sox. I just don't see that being doable unless A.J. Preller asked the White Sox to pay some of the salary each of the next 2 years. Robert's got two options, $20 million each of the next 2 seasons. Padres can't take that contract on unless
club options.
Yes.
Yeah. So if he doesn't pan out, they can just let him ride.
But why would you trade a whole bunch? No, it's player options. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Player option. Why would you trade a whole bunch if you're only going to have them for 2 months? You're not going to do that. But the problem is they can't take on $20 million per year each of the next 2 seasons. They might want the White Sox to take on some of that $20 million. I don't think the Sox are interested in doing that. So that's where the Padres are. There's probably other names that are going to surface between now and Thursday at 3 p.m. They're trying really hard to add a bat. Just a couple of other tidbits. They're pushing Yu Darvish back in the rotation. They don't think he's had setbacks with the elbow, but John, he's given up 17 runs in the last 16 innings. So that's a struggle. Michael King throwing a simulated game up and down to batters for the first time, Petco Park. But this is going to be a long process. We'll just have to see how the shoulder feels the day after he throws, the second day after he throws, and how quickly then schedule another simulated game. Manny Machado. Man, is he hotter than the weather in St. Louis. 13 for his last 21. Now the Padres are home. They get the New York Mets in town. The Mets coming in with a 7-game win string. And despite the mess of injuries to their pitching staff, collectively, they got a bunch of guys outside of Juan Soto. They're hitting the baseball. So now the burning question for Padre fan, you're going to Petco Park. Are you going to boo Juan Soto, Mr. Me, Myself, and I? Or you say, hey, we made the trade. He came in. He didn't really make a big difference for us, but we used some of the bargaining chips to go get pitching that has helped us be better, and then we traded him away again. Your reaction to everything. Where do you want the Padres to go from a trade standpoint? Your reaction to what's happened with this pitching staff, and your reaction to Mr. Me, Myself, and I.
Well, just the Mets rolling into town. And just don't bring Bartolo Colon and we'll be all right. So, I mean, you talk about the trade possibilities and yeah, Preller is backed into a corner. His options are limited. It's interesting at, you kind of wonder how much value does Cease really have for a team like the Red Sox that are trying to make a run, because it's only, he's only going to get him for a couple of months.
Yeah,
right?
And his mechanics are just not where they need to be. He's not the dominant guy he was for a large chunk of last season, and he's just so out of sync. His ERA is what, 4.59?
It seems like he'll, in a given start, he'll be like dominant for, 2/3 of the innings that he throws. And then the other times he'll get a little squirrely. It's weird. But remember, it was the pitching coach had straightened him out, and now I guess he's fallen back into some of his old habits.
Yeah, he's throwing hard. His strikeout walk ratio is pretty decent, but he keeps having bad innings, and then he gets lit.
Yeah, it's just bizarre. So, I mean, and it's interesting also that the catcher, Salas, was part of the conversation, because for so long we thought they were untouchable. But the Padres need to find a way to trade one guy and get 3 guys. Even if they're prospects, they're going to have to find a way to parlay this, because if they're going to give away, I mean, like in this case, Cease, you're not going to get a whole lot back if it's only like for 2 months. So I don't know what they're going to do, but thank God they salvaged that road trip.
Well, when they drafted 2 catchers a week ago and they signed both the catchers to over the recommended slot, that led me to believe, okay, they've changed their mind on Ethan Salas.
Yeah.
And the fact that Salas can't play this season because the stress fracture in the back has been slow healing since April means that maybe they just don't hold him as in high regard, or maybe they say, okay, we'll find another catcher. We'll find somebody that is really intrigued in Ethan Salas. So what are you doing sitting behind the third base dugout tonight? Are you going to boo Soto or not?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You just got to give him hell. I mean, the whole thing, because he was kind of, like a negative energy in the clubhouse, and in the dugout. So, yeah, you got to give him the business. He deserves it.
Okay, that's all things Padres. Topic 1, fans forum chat box is open. No excuse for you not to have an opinion on some of the things we've talked about. Topic 2, Dodger baseball.
Yeah, LA Dodgers has already got a bunch of people in fans forum wanting to hear more Dodger talk.
Well, there's a lot of Dodger talk going on. Big setback for the Dodgers in the early morning hours today. Major League Baseball removed Cleveland Guardians closer Emmanuel Clase from the roster, put him on the commissioner's exempt list for at least 60 days. He's out till September 1st. He has been dragged in to the gambling probe with Cleveland starting pitcher Luis Ortiz, who's been out since June in the midst of allegations betting on games, bad innings in games. Did somebody do something where there was a flurry of bets involving Ortiz, and he blew up in those games intentionally? Now, somehow Clase has been dragged into this. Was Clase betting on games? Because Clase has not had bad seasons where you'd say, why is everybody placing bets on the 9th inning of a Cleveland game that Clase is about to enter? Because that's a red flag. Totally.
Yeah.
But there's something going on with Clase. Now the fact that he's been removed and placed on the commissioner's exempt list till September 1st at the minimum, he's off the trade block. Nobody can trade for him. So that's a big setback for the Dodgers because that was item 1 on their agenda. Go find another relief pitcher. Now, there's all kinds of other rumors swirling around Dodger baseball right now that the Dodgers are talking, you ready for this, to Boston for Duran. That just surfaced over the weekend. Boston, the Dodgers are talking to Minnesota about full-service center fielder, left fielder, I can play the game, Harrison Bader.
Oh, nice.
Dodgers are talking to St. Louis about second baseman who could be an outfielder, Brandon Donovan.
Yeah.
Dodgers did reject requests that Dalton Rushing, the catcher first baseman, be included in any potential deal. They say no, but they got so many other resources they can use. Blake Snell is on his way to Los Angeles. He has completed his 4th rehab. He went 4+ innings, no hits. Oklahoma City, he's going to be activated by the end of the week. He will be in the rotation, we believe, on the weekend. On top of that, the Dodgers have done what I said they should do a week ago. They're taking one of their starting pitchers and converting him into the bullpen. Bobby Miller, who a year and a half ago was hot prospect, can't miss, did well, can't throw strikes right now. Bobby Miller is going to be moved to become a closer in Oklahoma City to see if they can just rely on his fastball and one other pitch rather than all the other pitchers that he just seems to be struggling with. He's got an ERA of 5.58. So the Dodgers are going to look within for bullpen help there. Other Dodger stories, Dustin May, I'm not going to say he's tapped out, but I think he's coming out of the rotation. And maybe he's going to wind up going to the bullpen as first man in, long reliever if need be, because he's had good outings supplemented by a bad inning. He just seems to have a bad inning all the time, and it blows up in his face. He's got an ERA, I think, of 4.85 now.
Mm-hmm.
I think his record's 6-7. He's dazzling. They had a stretch over the weekend. He went 3 innings or blowing people away, and then had a bad inning, and they wound up losing a game. The Dodgers, get this, they're 61-45. That's 16 over 500. And yet, I look at the Dodgers and I find no comfort zone at all. To me, they're just a really troubled franchise. And baby, we got a pennant race again because of the Dodgers' problem. It is, John, tell me if I'm wrong. I'm never wrong. This is the most unimpressive team to be 16 games over 500. Is it not?
Oh, no. I mean, they're Jekyll and Hyde. And man, when they're Hyde, yeah, they're a problem.
Interesting weekend, Fenway Park. I don't know if you saw the video. The home plate ceremony Friday night, Clayton Kershaw and the Dodgers came out to home plate and gave Walker Buehler his World Series ring.
Oh, yeah. You posted that on X.
It was really cool.
Yeah.
And, the outpouring of affection. And these are the Dodgers are on the World Series team. And then the rest of the Dodgers in the dugout came to the top step, gave him a standing ovation. It was really cool.
Nice. Yeah.
And, Walker Buehler, he had some phenomenal seasons with the Dodgers, and he had the courage to fight through 2 elbow surgeries and the rehab and the bumps and the starts and the stops and the struggles and then the dominance. Hell, they wouldn't have won the World Series last year without the way he pitched down the stretch.
He threw really well.
Exactly.
In
So
the postseason.
that was so classy. And the other thing, I don't know if you saw the video. It's the first time the Dodgers have played at Fenway in a long time. Kershaw led all the Dodger foreign players and their rookies out to left field. They opened the door to the green monster where the scoreboard is, and he had all the players go in behind the green monster where the scoreboard is. It's a manual scoreboard where they hang the runs totals and all that. And he had all the Dodger players, notably the Japanese players, the Korean players, who had never experienced that. He said, this is what this is. And this park was built when Babe Ruth was here. And then the players autographed. There's a big cement slab above the manual scoreboard, and they all autographed it. It was kind of cool. Kershaw, history lesson to all the new Dodgers. So, I mean, it's just fascinating, the Dodgers Fenway Park. John, your turn.
Wow. I mean, you got a lot there. First of all, the Hader Bader and the other kid, Donovan.
Yes.
Those are good pickups if they can get them. And those are really serviceable guys that can play multiple positions. The whole thing with Kershaw and the Fenway. Well, what I was reading, that was for just, it's a custom for rookies to always get that chance to do that. Or is it just a VIP thing? I don't know, but it's cool that you can go back there.
Ohtani had never been there.
Yeah.
And the other players from Japan. And here's Kershaw and the interpreter explaining to them this manual scoreboard that goes back to the 1930s and 40s and with the history of the Green Monster. And then they took him out and he showed them the seats that Larry Lucchino built on top of the wall of the Green Monster and explained how those are luxury seats and the short fly balls go in there for home runs. And that was great history.
Well, hopefully those young men, from other countries appreciated it, because it's a great history. But I want to talk about Dustin May for a minute. Now, he obviously has overcome all these struggles, but, his fastball isn't what it was, prior to his surgeries. And I kind of wonder, has he sort of dialed it back a little bit because he's being a starter, wants to get those extra innings, pitch 5, 6, 7 innings? Because if you made him a closer, or a high leverage setup guy, and you let him go just for 1 inning, I mean,
max effort,
it would be 102, 103 with 2-seam fastball movement that would be crazy.
He's been at 100 since he came back, but the secondary pitches, he's all over the place, and more recently all over the place. He started the season like a house of fire, but his name's on the trade block too. I don't know if the Dodgers want to get rid of him. People might be asking for him. But, maybe the Dodgers just need to rethink, as you say, this guy cracks 100. Just let him throw an inning max effort as a key setup guy or maybe a closer and give him a second life, because right now he'll go 5 innings and he'll have 3 innings where this looks like vintage Dustin May, and then all of a sudden it falls apart, and then he's walking guys. He walked 3 guys in 1 inning the other night. So it's going to be interesting to see where that goes. They're going to do a deal. Trust me, they're going to do a deal. But losing Clase,
that's a big hit.
That's a big hit for Dodger baseball. So that's all things Dodger blue. Third topic on the table. We got trades.
Yeah, the MLB notebook. A lot going on here.
Yeah, let's just get started here. First of all, the Cleveland situation. Losing Clase is a killer. because they're not going to be able to trade him. That may mean they may trade their other reliever, Cade Smith, in a potential deal. Second one is it's a Philadelphia Phillies story that just kind of really exploded within the last 2 hours. Rob Manfred making his visits to different clubhouses to explain his idea on the future of economics in baseball got cursed at by Bryce Harper. Harper stood up in the middle of the meeting and said, if you're going to use the word salary cap, you can get the F out of here right now.
Wow.
And it got really heated because Manfred stood up to Bryce Harper and said, I'm not leaving this clubhouse. I'm going to explain to all these players the economics of the game and how a restructure in revenue sharing and how different allocations, he'd never used the word salary cap, different allocations of the money to players would work. Nick Castellanos, the outfielder, is the one that came between Harper, who, by the way, is a Scott Boras client, came between Harper and the commissioner to kind of cool things down. So that was a really stunning incident in the Phillies clubhouse. Harper doesn't want to talk about the incident that happened with Rob Manfred. Manfred does not want to talk about it, but Manfred, I was told, Manfred stood up to him. He was not going to take any crap in front of all the other players, and he was going to explain his theory about that. Third topic, New York Yankees. They made 2 deals to get infielders. They're playing wretched defense. Yankees committed 10 errors in 5 games in their infield. Never seen anything like it. This is the major leagues. Yankees had 52 errors in the first 102 games of the season, playing just miserable defense. Anyhow, they went out and they traded for Colorado third baseman Ryan McMahon. They gave up 2 minor league pitchers to get him. McMahon can play third. McMahon can play first. He's still got years left on his contract. And they also went out and got a pretty good glove guy. Played for the Mets, played for Cleveland, played in Tampa. Ahmad Rosario. Oh. Not a bad defensive player, multi-position guy. The Yankees are just an absolute mess defensively. New York Mets pitching short. Now, their injured starters are coming back, but they're short in the bullpen. They traded a couple minor leaguers to get left-handed setup guy Greg Soto, former all-star pitcher from the Baltimore Orioles, who are kind in fire sale mode. Athletics. It's not getting a lot of conversation, but this is quite an accomplishment. Nick Kurtz, rookie outfielder, playing for the Athletics, hits 4 home runs in 1 game, 19 total bases. He went 6 for 6 at home plate. This guy's a rookie. I think he's got 23 home runs this season. It was an amazing story there. The picture of Rob Manfred, there's a lot of controversy about a story that broke at the end of the week. It kind of got lost because of the Manfred conversation with Bryce Harper. Manfred has enlisted the help of retired players who are siding with the commissioner's office on the future of the finances. Evidently, the commissioner has been meeting privately, and he has brought on board, he's calling them his ambassadors, CC Sabathia, Prince Fielder, Ryan Howard, John Smoltz, Gary Sheffield, his ambassadors of the commissioner's office. And he's going to have those guys go around and meet with the players in the clubhouse to explain the creative aspect of a salary cap, how they can make it work so the players get more money in baseball, how it's working in the NFL, how it's working in the NBA. The union and Tony Clark is aghast that these legendary stars of the game are siding with the commissioner over the sales pitch about what the new collective bargaining agreement should look like. So you got that. Tampa Bay Rays. St. Petersburg has terminated the agreement the Rays had made with the past owner to build a $1.6 billion stadium. They say new ownership has come in, this Jacksonville consortium. We'll be glad to sit, but we're going to start from absolute square one. Going to have to renegotiate a whole new structure economically for this business entertainment district that would also house a new stadium for the Tampa Bay Rays. Now, the Rays are going to go back into the Suncoast Dome for 2 more years once the new roof was put on post-hurricanes. But we're back to square one in terms of no stadium right now. New owners are going to have to negotiate that. And the last one, Cincinnati. This is cool. I don't know what you're doing Saturday night, but you should be with the Rednecks and the good old boys. Cincinnati Reds are going to play the Atlanta Braves at Bristol Speedway in Tennessee. An all-time record, 85,000 tickets have been sold. I just saw a picture of the layout of the baseball stadium on the infield of this big super speedway track.
Awesome.
It's got a real different look.
When's that game?
Saturday night. It's going to be on TV.
Awesome.
It's a little bit like, you'll remember this, when the Dodgers and Angels first went to the Coliseum in Los Angeles. I mean, it looks really weird.
Oh, so do they have to have a big net in some places on this?
Yes, and they put stands out, temporary stands out in the outfield where part of the infield for the NASCAR races was. It's a real different look. It will break the all-time record for baseball. The all-time record attendance for a single game in Major League Baseball was set in 1954 in the heat of the American League pennant race between my Cleveland Indians and the New York Yankees. And that was always a great rivalry, but they were the 1 and 2 teams in the American League. In Cleveland, they drew 84,753 or something like that. This one, they've already sold 85,000 tickets for this game, and they're going to wear special jerseys. It's being called the Speedway Classic.
That's cool.
At Bristol International Speedway. So, wear your T-shirt. Go ahead. You can drink your Pabst Blue Ribbon with the team mascot we have here, Sniffer the dog, and celebrate NASCAR, good old boy, redneck baseball. Reds, Braves. It's good. It's cool.
Yeah, and that racetrack's sort of halfway in between the two cities.
Yeah, it's right on the border of Tennessee and Virginia. Bristol International Speedway. It's a smaller track, tight track, and the seats are like this. The layout, maybe punch up a picture, Google it. It's just you say, wow, that's going to be novel. 85,000 tickets have been sold.
Yeah, and you were saying it broke the record in Cleveland, and that's probably the mistake by the lake, right?
Exactly, old municipal stadium, but that sucker was rocking when the Indians were good in the 50s.
Yeah, that's one of those stadiums, like you could fit a gazillion people in there. I remember when Qualcomm, when they expanded it to 60,000, they had some big crowds out there for Padre baseball. In fact, that's when Jake Peavy made his debut out there. But anyways, just a couple of quick comments here. The Class A thing. I saw like this video clip of him throwing the ball. It only went like 35 or 40 feet and he spiked it. Have you seen that video? No. So I'm wondering if it was kind of like the other player on the Indians, where it's just like the first pitch of the inning, is it going to be a wild pitch or something? And if that was it, I mean, this guy didn't, Class A didn't even try to sell it. Like, like an oops. It was just like, I'm spiking this and then I'm going to move on.
Well, the people that have triggered these investigations, if there are mass bets on a pitcher or a player in a certain inning, there's a volume of bets all of a sudden surface. That's a red flag. Totally. And MLB security finds out from the casinos, look at this. So if indeed something weird happened with Clase with the first pitch he threw in a relief appearance, and everybody also there was a rush to place bets before he threw that pitch. Yeah, connect the dots on that sucker.
Oh, totally. Yeah. And just a couple of comments on the Phillies and on the A's. I love that visual of Bryce Harper just getting in Rob Manfred's face. And now, granted, I would think that if you're a player, I mean, Manfred isn't exactly your boss, but he's kind of the leader of the league, and so you think there'd be a little more respect there. And I get it. I mean, whole thing, salary cap, these guys don't want to hear it. The most powerful union in all of labor in America. But I would think that the average everyday player would probably appreciate kind of seeing the breakdown of the revenue. How much money are these teams really earning? That could actually be helpful for a young player.
What do you think Tony Clark thinks right now with all of these star players going to the other side? Because he has always viewed the owners, Rob Manfred, that's the enemy.
Yeah, and I think you got to find a win-win here. It's not going to be a win-lose. And really the financial model for baseball just keeps being revolutionized as more and more revenue keeps coming in. So, they're going to have to kind of restructure a bit as they go.
Interesting to see where it winds up. Last topic on the table, the Dateline. I love this place, Cooperstown, New York.
Yeah, what a fabulous town and a place in history.
Oh, the speeches were just emotional and really colorful. And obviously, I tried to think why baseball means so much. And I think it's the historical perspective of baseball. Now, my perspective is different because I grew up in a baseball family. My dad was a pitcher. My uncle was a sports writer who covered the old Brooklyn Dodgers in the 30s into the 40s. So I grew up in a baseball environment. And the more I thought about it, we watch baseball and we watch them play the game. But as we watch baseball and watch them play the game, we replay the memories of our youth. Baseball back then meant to us growing up. Fathers, sons, playing catch, father taking talk show son to Ebbets Field for the first time to see the St. Louis Cardinals, at a Yankee Stadium to see my Cleveland Indians against Mantle and Maris and all that. That's the thing. Baseball, more than any other sport, is about the generations of the game. So we watch them play and we replay the memories in our head, why we love the game so much. Oh, yeah. So that's what the Hall of Fame was so cool. And how about Ichiro's speech? All the years after he came from the Oryx Blue Wave, went to Seattle, did not speak English, never let on that he understood the language, always had an interpreter. And of course, he was besieged by Japanese media. And he was the first everyday lineup player from Japan to come here with success. The only guys who had come prior were pitchers. And then we find out, we get to the podium, and I kept expecting to have an interpreter. And Ichiro starts talking English. He gave the entire 25-minute speech in English. And it was glib, and it was funny, and it was serious, and it was respectful. I mean, it was just a really, really cool speech. He talked about the science of hitting. He talked about his own personal drive. He talked about the responsibility of me to the game, me to the team, me to the fans. I mean, it was a great sales pitch about being a pro's pro. And think about this. What he did in Japan was then superseded by what he did in America. Over 4,300 total hits. And we always thought Pete Rose was the hit king. This guy played till he was age 45. So Ichiro's speech was really something. And then there was CC Sabathia. Just talked about being driven, being dominant, being unrelenting, being focused, and being talented through all the troubles that he created for himself. A lot of people forget when he was in Cleveland, went to Montreal, he had a bad alcohol problem. In fact, a lot of people thought he was going to drink himself right out of the league. He had a bad conditioning problem. And now to see him stand up and become a trusted advisor to the commissioner's office, be actively involved with his Players Association, be involved with the Negro League Museum, their version of the Hall of Fame in Kansas City. He's become such a hell of a citizen. Cool. It's just absolutely amazing. It was a great speech. Billy Wagner talked about obstacles becoming opportunities. The legendary relief pitcher never got his just due compared to Mariano Rivera, Trevor Hoffman, Lee Smith, etc. But it was a really thing about being a self-made guy and using obstacles to become your next stepping stone. I thought that speech was really something. Obviously, the Dave Parker speech in memoriam by his son, Dave Parker II, was really cool. Pops, the road he traveled, his life, what being a Pittsburgh Pirate meant to that family, and the We Are Family generation of Pirate baseball. And Dick Allen's widow, talking about Dick Allen, the man that a lot of us did not know. We only saw the public perception of Dick Allen. He played with a fire and a fury, and he was strong, and he was physical, and he was angry. That's who he was with his 42-inch bat. And yet he did a lot of things for a lot of people behind the scenes that his wife talked about. He lived and played with courage. He lived and played and changed the game. And he lived and played with respect for the history of black guys who did things before him to get to the game. I thought the whole Hall of Fame ceremony was just so electric. And John, Cooperstown is so cool. You got to go there. And my recommendation, if I were king, you go January the 11th when there's nobody there, it's snowy and cold, and you can spend 11 hours in the Hall of Fame. John, podium is yours. Talk about Cooperstown.
Well, I've been there, and it was like going to Mecca, It's like a religious experience.
Shrine.
And just the way the town is, it's just really quaint, and it has a lot of that old vibe, that old time vibe. And it's kind of how you kicked off this segment about how, baseball is about memories and generations. And it's so true. It's just the romance of baseball is special. It's unlike any other sport that way. And so the Hall of Fame is just terrific, and everything that goes into it. I wish that we could not have it at the same time as the ball games that we want to watch. So, I only attended to watch some of the highlights. Ichiro's speech was great, but all of this morning, I follow CC Sabathia on X, and he keeps posting. It's like, I can't believe I'm in the Hall of Fame. I can't believe this. And then, he had a picture of him with Randy Johnson and I think Sandy Koufax, and it was just like a little kid on Christmas, with this whole thing. And then Dick Allen, I read a little bit more about him because, again, he was like a little bit before my time. I think he retired in like 74, 75. But apparently there were stretches of the season that he would just go MIA and he'd be gone for weeks. So he was a different kind of guy, and you're kind of finding out more about him and his character. I mean, certainly the dude had talent up, the wazoo, but he had a lot of struggles in his personal life.
Yeah, he was an angry person, angry player. But God, he was really good when he was there and when he was on the field, and he became a Hall of Famer. I broadcast games as a young broadcaster from Doubleday Field in Cooperstown. I broadcast the Hall of Fame games back in the 1970s. I was the first one that ever went there. When I was working in upstate New York in Utica, big regional station up there, and I proposed to my people, I said, let's go to the Hall of Fame people and see if we could get permission to do the Hall of Fame broadcast. It was an exhibition game. It was played during the week. Ceremonies, of course, are on Saturday. And we went there and they let us do it. We did it all 4 years that I worked in Utica. We did games. And what a thrill. Now, Yankees had come in and the White Sox played the Cardinals, I think. The Tigers came.
How old were you when this happened?
Well, I was a young broadcaster. I was in my 20s.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was cool. And now, granted, the Yankees, Mickey didn't play and Roger did, those guys didn't play. They would bring up their AAA guys and they'd kind of be on the field, but just to be in the environment. And Doubleday Field is small and there's railroad tracks that run right along the outfield wall, and they'd have to stop the game because a train would be coming through. It was just
good vibes.
It is so cool. So, like I say, go to the Hall of Fame. Go in January when it's snowing cold and there's nobody there, and you can spend all day and half the night there. It's
easy.
It's so neat. And the gallery with the plaques. Oh my God. I was speechless. I walked in there. It was right after Tony. The last time I was there was right after Tony Gwynn's induction. And there was his plaque on the top row, right-hand side on the wall, with the light shining right on the gold plaque. It was so cool.
It's like something right out of church, man.
Exactly.
So, have you been, I'm sure you've been in the broadcast wing of the Hall of Fame. So for you personally, as a play-by-play broadcaster, who are your favorites? Well,
I interviewed a lot of those guys. I went through, I think there were 21 guys that are in the media wing, broadcasters and writers. I think I'd interviewed 16 of the 21.
Oh, nice.
So it was kind of cool. So, but I grew up black and white TV. Now some people I know still have black and white TVs, AKA Bill Warndell in Philadelphia. But I grew up in black and white and TV, and I grew up listening to baseball on radio, and I grew up with Mel Allen and Phil Rizzuto and a young Jerry Coleman. And I grew up with a young Vin Scully, and I grew up with the New York Giant broadcaster Les Kiter. So I would listen on radio all the time. Everybody listened to baseball on radio. You go to the beach. I grew up on Long Island. You could walk along the shore on the beach, and everybody had transistor radios listening to baseball, either Yankees or Dodgers or Giants, or then Yankees or New York Mets. So I listened to all those guys. So that's where I cut my teeth, is listening to those special people. What a thrill. I interviewed Mel Allen before he passed, interviewed Red Barber before he passed. Obviously interviewed Jerry Coleman multiple times. What a thrill.
Well, for me, Mel Allen's an interesting guy because his play-by-play, was again New York and before my time, but he was always the dude on This Week in Baseball.
Sure.
That I would watch on Saturday mornings right before the game of the week.
His favorite phrase was the 3-ring sign for Ballantine, a Ballantine blast, home run, Ballantine beer.
Okay.
So that's cool. All things baseball. And the Ichiro speech, man, that was for a lifetime. That was so shocking because I kept waiting. Where's the interpreter? And he took this out of his pocket and he started to read English. And no, the guys in Seattle were absolutely stunned because he never spoke English in Seattle. Didn't in New York, didn't in Miami before he finished his career. Okay, that's all things baseball. You got an opinion, feel free. Jump on board. Fans Forum chat box is open. We get to halftime. This Monday bonus podcast brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Centers, 9 locations to serve you in San Diego. Doors, windows, specialty of the house. But what they do in your kitchen, what they can do in terms of renovation in the bathroom, it's absolutely stunning. John, go ahead. Talk about what's on the lineup card of DIXIELINE Lumber.
Yeah, I mean, you're just talking about kitchen remodels. Let's pull up a video here of all kinds of the things that DIXIELINE brings to the table in a kitchen. So here we're talking about cabinets, we're talking about countertops, we're talking about really the design. You want to remodel your kitchen, you don't know where to go, and you can work with one of the DIXIELINE design consultants. They'll set you up, they'll get this thing going. And then, you want your contractor that's going to come in and be able to do the install. They're going to probably need some lumber there, for this kind of a project to kind of rebuild the framing in the kitchen. DIXIELINE has the best lumber. If you go in their lumber yard, really high quality lumber, especially compared to those big box guys, so yeah, you want to rebuild your kitchen, bones right to the finished product. DIXIELINE's got it. And
DIXIELINE also has what I call a showroom. He's got a different term for it over in Solana Beach. Where can people visit to actually see the state-of-the-art stuff they can do for kitchens and bathrooms?
Well, first of all, there are 9 stores, and all the stores, or most all the stores, have kitchen and bathroom display in those stores. But if you go to the design studio, which is right next door to the Solana Beach Home Center, right there on Loma Santa Fe and Highway 5, you go in there, it's like you're talking to people that are like interior designer level folks that can make the right kind of recommendations for a lot of almost like European faucetry and a lot of sort of high-end windows from some of the top manufacturers. That's a whole other thing, as far as doors, windows, kitchen, and bath. But if you're looking for the best that you can get, go to the design studio in Solana Beach.
Kind of like the ones we have here in the castle.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, we are at halftime. DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Centers, 9 locations to serve you. Just go to DIXIELINE.com. You can't believe what they've got to offer. Podcast underway. Monday bonus podcast. We do sports talk the way it should be done. Lots of topics on the table. And then we turn it over to you. If this were sports talk on radio, it'd be first-time callers, long-time listeners, and all that. Instead, we started this thing where you can participate. It's called Fans Forum. Go ahead, John. Tell them how to get on.
Get those phone lines lit.
Damn it.
Kiss my Aztec line. Okay, we got John. We got Matthew. I see Joey. Joey's got a bunch of them up here. And Casey and Teamer 20 and Gary and Showtime LA. Callan is always there to kick it off. He's always the first guy in. So if you got any questions or comments in the world of sports about the Hall of Fame, about what's going on, the MLB trade deadline, NFL, and football topics, which we're about to get into, just drop your take in the live chat on YouTube, X, or Facebook, and we'll get you involved in Fans Forum.
And a reminder, when we're done with this podcast, do me a favor, do us a favor, sample my website, LeeHacksawHamilton.com. It's all written. You won't believe the volume of information that's there every day. We post it. It's there first thing every morning. You give us 5 minutes while you're having coffee. You read everything there. You'll know everything there is. It's on my website, LeeHacksawHamilton.com. Want you to share, subscribe, tell everybody what we do Mondays and Thursdays at 1:30. And when you subscribe to the YouTube channel, Facebook, Instagram, X, you will also get the alerts every time you put something up on the YouTube channel. Want you to join Hacksaw's Insiders group. You'll get on our special email list. You can do that on my website. There's a big orange box. Just register to join. One of these days, we're going to convince John to buy us all shots of liquor, and we're going to have a staff meeting with everybody who's part of the Insiders group. Who's going to take over somebody's restaurant for sure.
That sounds cool. We got to do that.
Yeah, I agree. So there's lots of different ways for you to interact with us. Podcast, obviously, Mondays and Thursdays. And by the way, since we have no friends, that's okay, but you can help us a great deal. Give us a thumbs up, give us a follow, give us a 5-star rating. That really helps us a great deal. Okay, John, we move to the second half because there's more in the world than just baseball.
Yeah, you want to talk football here? You want to go NFL or you want to talk college football?
Let's start National Football League. We got all kinds of stories breaking as we move into the second week of NFL training camps, and the preseason schedule starts this coming Thursday. Rams say they're not concerned. I think they're not telling us everything. They should be concerned. I'm concerned because they sent quarterback Matthew Stafford to see a spine specialist, Dr. Robert Watkins. He has not practiced, has now been ruled out for this entire second week. He's not going to play any preseason games. The fact that he has got problems with the back, either it's back stiffness, back pain, he's got it without having played a snap, has to be of concern to me. So he's not ready, and he's gone to see a spine specialist. Chargers situation. I don't like this story about Najee Harris. The fact that Jim Harbaugh dropped hints that Harris is not going to practice at all in preseason means there's probably more to this eye injury than just bruising. Maybe there's a fractured orbital bone when he got hit by this fireworks display. If you connect the dots, maybe that's why he can't be in a helmet, can't be on the field, can't be involved in any contact workouts. The Chargers just signed the left tackle, Rashawn Slater, to an all-time record 4-year contract extension, $114 million, $92 million of it guaranteed. Rashawn Slater is now locked in, not on the practice field yet because they got a minor injury issue, but he's not going to be a free agent. They got him signed. And this chase to see who's going to be the other wide receiver. Darius Davis caught 5 touchdown passes over the weekend in 11-on-11s and 7-on-7 practices. He, of course, is the mighty little guy, kick return guy. Right now, he's kind of pushed himself ahead of Quentin Johnston, who caught a bunch of passes and then started dropping balls again. So Darius Davis right now, along with the high draft pick, has done a pretty good job. That's the latest from the Chargers camp. This Raiders situation is really ugly. The decision to release Pro Bowl defensive tackle Christian Wilkins, the fact that they're saying breached his contract. He had a broken foot, a broken toe on a foot, had surgery. Therapy took a long time, did not get healthy. They recommended a second procedure. He blew it off. He said no. Then he stopped going to the rehab assignments, and they just flat out said, you violated the contract. They cut him loose. At stake is $35 million in guaranteed money that was the back end of the contract. It's going to go to grievance. If the Raiders lose this grievance, his cap figure is going to be $74 million. You can't live with a $74 million cap figure. I don't know how they're going to solve the situation, but they're saying he violated the contract by not having the recommended second surgery and then missing the rehab appointments with doctors. It's a really ugly issue there. Not good in Chicago. Last year's number 1 draft pick was the quarterback,
Caleb Williams.
Caleb Williams going backwards. And Ben Johnson, the new coach who came from Detroit, says, I have to handle Caleb Williams like he's a total rookie. Chicago has asked Caleb Williams to start taking a preponderance of snaps under center. The whole mechanics of all that are really different. And to him, it's like a foreign language because he played his whole life at Oklahoma and at USC out of the shotgun. And he is really struggling. The fact that Ben Johnson called him, I got to treat him like a rookie. It's like he's got no experience at all under center. And he has been very, very erratic. Minnesota, they've talked an awful lot. They've committed everything to J.J. McCarthy. I've seen bad practices. I've never seen a quarterback throw 5 interceptions in one practice. That's what J.J. McCarthy did Saturday for the Minnesota Vikings. So work to be done there. Indianapolis, they won't say it, but everybody is saying it. Anthony Richardson's a bust. He's in his 3rd preseason camp. Now, granted, he's come off injuries and surgeries, but he's just so wildly erratic and so inaccurate in the pocket. I think Daniel Jones, the ex-Giant, is going to wind up being the starting quarterback. But the thing is, they give Anthony Richardson a 5-year contract. And that's big money if this guy turns out to be a bust. And Cleveland, what they don't need is another quarterback problem. What they do have is another quarterback problem. Kenny Pickett goes down with a hamstring injury. He's out. He's out of practice this week. They're not sure when he's coming back to practice. Joe Flacco, older than Methuselah. Here's the ball. You're the guy. Dylan Gabriel's taken a lot of snaps. Shadur Sanders has not taken a snap with the #1 offense yet in camp. So news and notes around the National Football League. You're a Rams fan. You scared about this Matthew Stafford thing, seeing a spine specialist, and he's never been on the field?
It just strikes me that, Matthew Stafford seems like he should be really old because wasn't he drafted like
He's 37.
Yeah, I've been thinking he was drafted right around like 09, 2010, something like that. So yeah, that math sort of adds up. He's been in the league like 15 years.
He's a great player, taking a lot of hits too.
Oh yeah.
All of a sudden, that back stiffness coming out of OTAs, and now he can't practice. And now they've ruled him out again. And now they sent him to Dr. Watkins, who is the numero uno guy as it relates to back and spines.
Yeah, well, once the back starts acting up, I mean, that's trouble.
I'll volunteer that.
Yeah.
I'll sign that memo.
Now the Chargers, Darius Davis, I know you're talking about a little guy and a punt returner. He was another TCU guy.
Yep.
Do you think he could be like a Tyreek Hill? Because Tyreek Hill is kind of a small kid too, small young man.
Tyreek Hill, though, is built like a fire hydrant. He's a tough guy. He can run all those routes and take the combat and the hits. I don't know Darius Davis could hold up. He's sprightly. Is that a term?
Oh, okay.
I mean, is he 5'8"? Is he 165, 170 at most? He's fearless, but I mean, you're going to run those routes as an inside slot guy, you're going to get hammered.
Yeah.
So
who was the Chargers like 20 years ago had a guy like that came from Kansas State. What was his name?
Andre Coleman.
Yeah, that was
a little guy. And he's a kick return guy and a slot guy.
Yeah. So, and anyways, going down the list here, a couple other comments on the Vikings. It's weird because I was seeing reports that, the quarterback, JJ McCarthy, was actually like magic on the field. That was hitting these impossible passes, touchdowns, and now you're telling me the exact opposite.
Well, on one given Saturday, throw 5 picks, you're starting quarterback, 5 picks. Now, granted, Kevin O'Connell has still got another 4 weeks of training camp to resolve this, but man, that's a lot of interceptions in one practice.
Who else is up there to play quarterback?
No, it's him. They've committed the world to him.
Well, where did the guy Daniel Jones end up going?
He's in Indianapolis.
Okay.
He's going to be the starter because of AR-15 self-destructing.
Interesting.
Okay, that's all things NFL. You got an opinion? Fans Forum chat box is open. Looking for Rams fans. We got followers in Los Angeles and Orange County. You hitting the panic button here on this Matthew Stafford story? Feel free. Jump on board. We go from that, late-breaking stories in college football at this hour.
Okay, want to talk with a little Colorado to kick it off?
Let's start with this storyline. Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, press conference today with his doctors, has cancer. He has fought back, has undergone 14 surgical procedures in the offseason. He looks frail. He looks gaunt. He's lost 20 pounds. They believe they got the cancer. They took the bladder out. His life is radically changed, and I'd be concerned how he holds up to the wear and tear and the actual physical demands of being a head coach in college football. He says he's ready and he's willing to go through it. He's completed the chemo. It was quite an emotional press conference. He was very blunt. He was very open. He says, "I am going to be a poster boy for every man in America to get tested, PSA test, etc., for cancer." So that's why he has not been around since spring, and he finally answered questions about it today. Very emotional press conference, so we'll be keeping Coach Prime in our thoughts because not only has he got a battle on the field to replace his son, the star quarterback, and obviously the Heisman Trophy winning wide receiver cornerback, he's got this personal fight going on there. So that's item one with Coach Prime. This is a big challenge. He has fought back from multiple blood clot situations post-playing career. He's had toes amputated. When he first kind of disappeared from the scene in Boulder in the offseason, I thought, well, maybe he's got more blood clot problems, which makes a lot of sense. Those things do return. But boy, I was broadsided when I got the bulletin that he was holding a press conference talking about cancer, and then went through the whole thing. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, you just think of Deion as just invincible.
Yes.
Coach Prime is the Hall of Famer on the field and on the sideline, and this is a tough one.
So that's the latest on Deion Sanders. We got other college football news and notes to talk about. John, punch that up.
Okay, here we go. San Diego State and more SoCal football.
Press conference today. Days after I asked the question, has San Diego State lost the football community? Because I was really bothered when they told me we're not doing a media day. I said, how can you not do a media day? You're a Division I program. Anyhow, they changed their mind over the weekend, and they had a media day today with Sean Lewis, and it was like a tent revival speech. He was really fun. He put on a show. He answered all the tough questions I had. Mm-hmm. He was really good. He's excited. That's him. Did he talk 1,000 words a minute? That's him. Has he got to fix his offense? Damn right he does. He does return 9 starters on defense. I asked him about the autopsy at the end of the season, as painful as it was, that his offense couldn't move the football and couldn't score, and the defense caved in at the end of the season. He didn't want to talk in negatives, but he said, yeah, we have to learn how to play together. We got to get better. We got to coach better. We got more athletes. He really sales pitched the media that was there on the retention factor. He said the one thing that's unique about Aztec football is we retained all of our marquee players. Well, he didn't retain the quarterback, Danny O'Neill, who transferred out and created that chaos. But he did retain Trey White, who's going to be an All-American linebacker, did retain the top wide receiver, etc. Brought a whole bunch of defensive guys back who didn't jump ship. So his sales pitch was really positive. It was really strong. So we'll see. They start workouts on Wednesday, and then obviously they open early. Again, August 28th, they play a Thursday night game against University of Stony Brook. Who? That's out on Long Island, for those of you who didn't study geography. But it's interesting. He's got 2 quarterbacks. He really likes Jaden Denigol, the transfer from Michigan. He thinks Bert Emanuel is a different type of quarterback who runs the football. I think it's another weapon in the arsenal that they can spring on people. But, they don't have Marquez Cooper in his 5,000 yards. He's graduated. They've got young guys led by Lucky Sutton from San Diego, so it's his time to shine. We'll see if they can hold up. They got every tall timber fir tree that they could recruit. Their offensive line is so big.
Cool.
They got so many guys that are 6'6", 6'7", 6'8", to pass protect the quarterbacks. So we'll see how quickly they can come along and play. And of course, they've got, as I said, 9 starters back on defense, so they have to make some changes and refix the defensive front. But it was pretty impressive. He was really positive. But then again, that's who he is. We just can't have another 3-9 football season. So let's give him some time. And I'll go back to the comments I made on Thursday. And there are some Aztec fans that watch this podcast that are kind of peeved at me right now. I have to deal with the topics on the table. And the topics are you're 7-19 in the last 2+ years. And the topics are nobody's going to games. The student body doesn't go to games. You drew 10,000 fans each of the last 2 home games in a shiny new stadium. So I'm dealing with that reality. And remember, this program was 106-48 under Rocky Long and Brady Hoke for a decade. And now we're sitting there at 3-9 with player defections all over the place. So Aztec fans might be really upset, but I'm dealing with the reality. But I'm also dealing with this. And I don't know how you get the message out. You can buy a season ticket at Snapdragon Stadium for 6 or 7 Aztec games, a season ticket for $200 total, and then a small fee you give to the Aztec Athletic Club. Everybody screams about Aztec for life. Well, show up, buy the season ticket, use it, if not give the tickets away, but you need to support the program. They went from 15,973 season tickets to 5,900 season tickets in 3 years. Where are the Aztec for life people? Show me your credential. So feel free to comment. But Sean Lewis, clean piece of paper, hit the reset button. I mean, it was pretty snazzy the way he conducted his business today there. So that's Aztecs. Brief comment, UCLA. They're all excited. Deshaun Foster's got the new transfer quarterback. Nico Iamaleava came from Tennessee. 14 Division I transfers. They've never had this many jumped into the program. He's got 9 new assistant coaches. He dumped a whole bunch of guys he brought in year 1, which is kind of really interesting. But everybody's excited about Nico, and Nico is going to try to lead UCLA back Big Ten doesn't believe so. They picked him 18th to finish 18th in the football standings this year in the Big Ten Conference. Crosstown, Southern Cal, Lincoln Riley. He's got Jaden Maaliva. He's the one that came from UNLV, played really well the second half of last season. He's going to be the starting quarterback. They got their defense back for a second year under Danton Lynn. They really made vast improvements. They've had good recruiting classes. I don't know. The jury still seems to be out on Lincoln Riley. There's a lot of people in LA just have huge questions whether this is the right guy for the program, but they're pouring a lot of resources into the Trojans program. And the last topic is North Carolina. Bill Belichick. He's ready. Tar Heels. Most interesting angle is he's brought in 71 new players. He brought in 40 players in the transfer portal. And everybody at ACC Media Day went crazy. There were 200 media for just his press conference alone, asking questions and getting quotes. So he's ready. He's formally announced, gentlemen, North Carolina Tar Heels are the NFL's 33rd team. I mean, that's how he's going to run this.
Interesting.
Like an NFL team. And the other thing, do you know who's not around the building nor practices?
Oh, Hot Pants?
Hot Pants. Jordan, what's her name? Richards? Not there. Now, she's obviously still involved with Belichick, but she does not have a physical presence on the sidelines or that's in the athletic department building. It's kind of interesting. That whole soap opera has kind of calmed down. So it's going to be fun to see what North Carolina does this season now that they're the NFL's 33rd team. So, John, a lot of topics on the table. Am I right or am I right about what I said about San Diego State, Aztecs for life, and the sales pitch that Sean Lewis used today?
I would have loved to have joined you with that because, it would be like a tent revival with him. I mean, who was at the press conference? It's usually only you and Kirk Kenny, right?
Me, Kirk Kenny, somebody from the website East Village Times. About half the TV stations were there for the first time because at the tail end of last season, in the midst of 6 losses in a row at the end, there was one TV station that would show up, or it was actually San Diego State's video crew. There were 3 of us at one press conference at the end of the year. Which led me to say they've lost the bloody community. And then that's a proven point based on the collapse of the season ticket support, the lousy turnout at the shiny new stadium. But yet Aztec fan is kind of banging on me for putting that topic on the table.
Everyone's always banging on you. And I'm just thinking about your comments on the attendance. But you were there when, Marshall Faulk era.
Yeah, 48 to 52,000 per game.
So what was your line back then? Was it was it like Aztec spear, or did you actually have a line for that?
No, during the course of the talk show is where I developed the Kiss My Aztec line. It's open for business.
This is fantastic.
I give people, we had our talk show numbers, which rotated, and we had a bank of 10 lines. And I think 8 of them I forget what the phone number was, but you call the first one, and every call coming in after the first one would bounce to the second, third, fourth line.
Yeah.
Well, we had a separate line, which we kind of used as a hotline. So I decided, okay, let's do something special. That kind of became the ladies line for Raiders fans. And then it became got to do something special for San Diego State. And that's where I came up with a Kiss My Aztec line. And I gave out that special number, and people call it.
I have the visual of like an old school, like WKRP layout right there with some big buttons with flashing lights.
Exactly.
Yeah, like those old kind of phones. But
and the Aztec line was a red phone.
It was. Okay. No, it's like the bat phone at Commissioner Gordon's office. Now, I just think it's cool when the local community is out there supporting him. And to your point, $200, for 7 or 8 games or whatever the home schedule,
6 game, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But Aztecs for life.
Yeah.
Buy a freaking season ticket, sit in the upper deck if you want.
But to your point, support your program,
Yes.
I mean, yeah. So I'm wishing them the best. I want Sean Lewis to be successful, because he's got everything, but he's going through what Belichick's going through at UNC with the revolving door and then the transfer portal. It's tough everywhere.
Yeah, but that's North Carolina. This is San Diego State. North Carolina fans, they've sold out the season. You can't buy a ticket in Chapel Hill for North Carolina football. Here,
Well, because Belichick's a name. It's like when Coach Prime showed up in Boulder. You know, I mean, everyone's going to, they know their program's going to go through a transformation. So I just wish Sean Lewis well. I want to see these two young quarterbacks, both from different Michigan universities. That should be an interesting competition. So we're going to find out.
Okay. You owe me a response in the Fans Forum chat box. Looking for Aztec fan. Sound off. Tell us what you think going forward as we go to the year 2 of Aztec Air, Aztec Fast, whatever the hell they're going to call it. We go from that. Before we wrap this thing up, a couple other tidbits. Hockey.
Yeah. Hockey Hotline, Team Canada player ban.
Yeah, we talked about this last Thursday. The judge in the Team Canada gang rape class acquitted all 5 players of sexual assault for a 20-year-old woman. Said that her testimony was inconsistent, it was unreliable, etc. The union says these 5 players, led by Philadelphia Flyers young goaltender Carter Hall, should be reinstated. Gary Bettman says no. He says we're going to conduct an evaluation and we will have hearings with each of these specific players. 4 of the 5 players have played in the National Hockey League, and Carter Hall is one of the top young goaltenders, the Philadelphia Flyers, who was out of hockey. They were all out of hockey last year. Bettman says you will not be reinstated. Union says it may file a grievance, and Gary Bettman says I have a right to hold a hearing because of what those kids did. These guys were all 18-year-old kids, Team Canada, at a party with a 20-year-old woman in London, Ontario. It's kind of a really ugly story. The story is not going away. Half the world is aghast that as bad as the testimony was about group sex and this woman being kind of held hostage in a hotel room and all these players getting involved sexually with her, half the people are aghast that the woman judge ruled against the woman, saying her testimony was inconsistent, unreliable in everything she said. Alcohol-driven decisions made by both sides, really bad. But Gary Bettman says these guys are not ready to go to camp. We're not going to allow it yet till I hold my hearings. Response.
This is a complicated one. I mean, you want to believe women, that's kind of the whole thing with the Me Too movement. But if the testimony is inconsistent, you got to call it out as well. And it's a female judge. So I don't know. I think Bettman's handling this the right way because they're innocent according to the law. You can disagree with the law, with the judge ruled, but they're innocent. But it makes sense that Gary Bettman's kind of got to do his due diligence, right? Yep. And it may end up being just sort of a, just checking the character, make sure none of these guys is is going to be a problem going forward.
That's where we are in hockey. It's an absolute, unbelievably too hot topic to touch. On the table in Canada. Rail. Canada Sports Talk Radio has just gone crazy with the Team Canada controversy. Last topic on the table. We got hot headlines.
The high-speed sports wire. Kick it off with F1.
Formula One Belgian Grand Prix. The drivers revolted. They voted not to race at the start of the Belgian Grand Prix yesterday because of a driving rainstorm that lasted for 40 minutes and made the track conditions unbelievably dangerous. Drivers stood up and said, we are not running. They waited. Storm blew past, took them forever. They started the race on wet tires, and they wound up running after this long delay. Oscar Piastris from South America, bold first lap pass in a corner against his teammate Lando Norris on what they call wet tires, which handle the puddles and everything. He made this unbelievable move on a corner underneath, got by Landis, ran away from the field, and won the race. And he's the hottest young driver on the circuit. Lando Norris finished second. Brutal day for Max Verstappen. Worst day for Lewis Hamilton on all kinds of problems with Ferrari. So that's where we are in Formula One. But I saw the video. I mean, it was raining so bad, you could not see from here to the other side of our studio. It was raining so bad.
Really?
And Formula One's one of the drivers, start your engines. The driver said no.
Yeah, what the hell?
Yeah. So it was an amazing story there. Second item. This is really bad. His name is Javier Hernandez. His soccer name is Chicharito. Great player from Mexico. He's been disciplined by the league and by Chivas, Mexico, the side he plays for. He went on social media and skewered women last week. I don't understand the whole mindset of Chicharito. He's got a lot of miles on him. He's had a lot of injury problems. He only scored 2 goals this year. He got taken out of the English Premier League. He did not survive MLS, etc. Anyhow, he's down in Chivas. So he did all these sexual innuendo slurs towards women. And of course, it's the aftermath. He just got divorced and he's got 2 kids and all that. And he said, it's time for women to honor their men, do what they want, and it's time for women to respect masculinity. What are you doing? So now he's been hit with this big fine in Mexico, and I don't know whether he's going to be welcomed back by Chivas-Mexico fans or in Guadalajara or just ungodly. I mean, they're just phenomenal in terms of support. But man, they're going to support Chicharito and what he had to say. Just amazing. And the last story, I watch NASCAR all the time. I admit I'm a bit of a redneck, but so they ran at Indianapolis yesterday. It's the strangest scene to see them come down out of the 4th turn down the straightaway to take the green flag. You got the seats are filled. You got the historic pagoda.
Oh yeah,
the Indy 500. It's so weird to see them driving Toyotas and Camrys and Fords and Chevys on a big track when you're so used to seeing Indy cars. Anyhow, so they ran the Brickyard 400 yesterday. Bubba Wallace, who drives for Michael Jordan's 23X team, he and Denny Hamlin are teammates. Bubba Wallace, he's an African-American, has hardly won on the circuit at all. He's gone 100 straight races without a win. He won yesterday at Indy, of all places. First African-American driver ever in history of any of the sports to win at Indianapolis. So there's a tradition in the Indy 500 in which you drink the milk.
Oh, yeah.
Though there's a tradition in the Brickyard 400 that the driver stops, gets out of the car, takes the checkered flag, and goes and kneels, and he kisses the bricks at the start-finish line. They are the original bricks of the old Brickyard, what the track used to be. So anyhow, he got the checker flag. He stopped, waved to the pits. His wife and baby came out, and they kneeled together where the bricks are, and they kissed the bricks as a family. It was such a cool picture. Yeah, it was a really cool picture. And Bubba Wallace has had a real up and down career. He's been involved in wrecks and all that. And he won early, and then 100 races without a victory. People start to say maybe he can't drive in the series any longer. So it was so cool. What I transferred the picture I saw onto social media. I said, this is such a cool team picture. Not him and his pit crew, him, the wife, and the little baby kissing the bricks. It was so cool.
Now, wasn't he the guy that was in that? There was a controversy about like a noose in the garage, and refresh my memory.
Oh, that goes back 3 or 4 years. And I'm trying to think, there was something that happened racially. Was it post George Floyd's death?
Yeah.
It might have been that, but somebody found a noose hanging in the back of the stall of Bubba Wallace's garage in a pit. I'm not sure. I can't remember what track it was. And it was a huge hullabaloo over there. And somebody pulled a prank. But they investigated, but nothing ever came of it. But what happened before that race, as the drivers were coming out of their team meeting, the drivers collectively, team by team, lined up. Because I had a picture. I put this picture on KUSI. Team by team walked to the start-finish line en masse with Bubba Wallace at the front.
Oh, nice.
It was really a cool thing about support.
Right on.
That's a good point that you bring up.
Okay.
Good for you.
So he won the race too, which is nice. It's been a long time since he's won. The other comment I want to make on Chivas, I mean, you're saying that Chicharito just had a divorce.
Yeah.
So he's probably bitter about that divorce, and he's just venting.
Goes on social media.
Well, that's just such an idiot move. I mean, especially I mean, it's bad enough that you're going on there doing this, but he's one of the superstars in Mexican soccer.
Yeah.
So that's just ridiculous, the whole story. So, but it's a different culture south of the border. I know there's a little bit of machismo that goes on down there. So
it's a different soccer culture, definitely, as witnessed by what we experienced with the opening of the season here with SDFC and MLS.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But the Bubba Wallace story is so cool. Just go on social media and find the picture of him, his wife, and baby kissing the bricks. It was so cool.
That's a great story.
A lot of topics on the table because we do sports talk the way it should be done. You'll know everything in sports, and then we'll give you the chance to express an opinion too. Brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Centers, 9 locations to serve you in San Diego. Time for Fans Forum Chat Box. John, you think there's a few people there with opinions today?
Yeah, there are a few. And again, if you use the YouTube Super Chat feature to attach a couple of bucks to your question, you go to the front of the line. And so Matthew, our good friend, is at the front of the line.
Go ahead.
What do you think of AJ's contract? I think ownership might prefer Mike Rizzo's style better. Rizzo's resume is as good as AJ's with less resources.
Well, Preller's got another 2 years. Would they want to eat a contract and get rid of him? I don't know. I think there has to be an evaluation, though, at the end of the season. If this postseason doesn't go long, they're kind of hanging on for dear life right now for the final playoff spot. But again, the roster they have at noon today is probably not the roster they're going to have Friday morning at breakfast. I think there are going to be changes. I think the unique aspects to A.J. Preller is he knows pitching. He knows how to find players. I mean, what they've mined from the minor leagues, what they've mined from Japan, it's just amazing. But at the end of the day, he's also painted himself into a corner because ownership does not appear ready to allow him to take on any more money because of the luxury tax. So does he trade Dylan Cease on a short rental somewhere else? Does he get the right player back for Dylan Cease? If he trades Dylan Cease, it's going to give him, I think there's about $6 million left to be paid on Cease. That would give him $6 million space to take on a different type of player. So, but historically, he knows players. So I think that's why you give him a little bit longer leash. Have to be in the playoffs, though, because their World Series window, and I've said this for months, I've said it last year, the World Series window is right here, and it's starting to close because of the age of a lot of these players and now the injury factor that's been tacked on too. So I guess we'll just have to evaluate what happens in the final couple months of the season and if they can go deep into postseason play. I mean, that's my stance on AJ. Yours?
Well, ownership has changed, and there's a lot of new faces in the owner suite, and especially when Seidler left. I mean, AJ was Seidler's guy.
Yes.
And so now there's a change in the leadership there. So I got to Preller doesn't have an unlimited contract. At some point, they might need to make a move, but I think Rizzo is going to get picked up somewhere else before there's any decisions made on Preller.
Well, normally people will make decisions on front office hires right at the end of the World Series because you want to give your new guy lead time to come in to evaluate what he's inheriting, and then obviously give him lead time for the general managers meetings where they lay trade groundwork. And the winter meetings are in December. Rizzo will be hired somewhere by somebody. I'm not sure at this point who else is in hot water. I'll say this now, and this will go down really badly in Orange County. Rizzo, Angels, what's there not to like considering Rizzo's track record in Washington? No?
Yeah, it's like a no-brainer. I mean, sorry, Perry, but, he hasn't been getting it done up there in Anaheim either.
But is that an ownership shortcoming? Might well be.
I think so. I think there's a lot of questions for the ownership there.
Okay, so that's where we are. We'll see. Month of October, I think, is going to be the trigger point as to how we look at A.J. Preller going forward. Because, like I say, window's getting smaller. Go ahead, John. Next one.
Okay, let's talk some Dodger ball with Matthew. He says, hey, why would Clase not being available be a big blow for the Dodgers? There are other relief pitchers they're looking at, and Friedman doesn't want to overpay on prospects. Guardians would want too much anyways.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, we're talking about a significant guy here. I think 67 saves in a year and a half. That's big time. And they own his rights for another couple of years. It's not like you're renting him for 2 months. I was told he was the number one guy from the relief list. Now, They're also talking about a second baseman. I like Brandon Donovan. He's a grinder, and he can play second, and he can play the outfield. If they got him to play second, I think they're committed to keep Mookie Betts at the short. But they got him to play second, they could put Edman back in left field. Now, if they don't, they want somebody different in left field. Harrison Bader. I liked Harrison Bader. I said when all the conversation about the Padres, when they're looking for somebody who could play left field, who could hit some, Bader. I mentioned Bader a month ago. So I don't know, the Padres haven't had much conversation with Minnesota about him, but so Clase was the number one guy. There will be some other relievers that they might look at. Now, the other piece of the equation, and this might happen, they could take a starter and convert him into a reliever. Dustin May might be going to the bullpen because Blake Snell's coming back and they got to open a slot in their rotation. And, maybe because May's had such a tough time controlling his third and fourth pitches, you just let him go to the pen and just throw heat and throw his second pitch, and you only use him in a shot. You got that. You got Landon Knack, who has pitched well. Obviously, they're converting Bobby Miller down at Oklahoma City, but that's a bit of a project to refine him to make him a closer. So the one thing the Dodgers have, a lot of other people don't, is they got depth. They got so many names you could use as trade bait, or you stay in-house and just move Dustin May. Go ahead.
Okay, this is kind of a crazy talk right here.
It's coming from you, from that corner of the room, yes.
But you know what's kind of weird is that if they weren't rivals, the Padres and Dodgers line up very nicely in terms of a trade possibilities, because the Padres have relief depth and the Dodgers have got so many different pieces that could fill Padre needs. Now, obviously, that's never going to happen, but it's interesting to think about in terms of the possibilities.
You've been drinking too much coffee. I mean, if the next sentence out of your mouth would be, you're going to propose Robert Suarez to Dodger Stadium.
Could you imagine? I mean, wouldn't that be weird?
Trade with the enemy?
I mean, that would be really weird. But anyways, let's keep moving on.
Peter Seidler will come down from heaven and have something to say about, we're trying to slay the dragon, not make the dragon better.
Well, if you could fleece the dragon, that's probably pretty good too. That comes close.
Okay, next one.
Okay, let's go here. We'll go down. Oh, James had a comment here about the Raiders. He says, hey, Raiders Wilkins also kissed a teammate on their forehead in the locker room, and the player went to HR. Raiders raidering.
Yeah, there's a lot of internal stuff there, but a guy joking around with another guy, that's a little bit weird to me. But this whole violation of the protocols about he had surgery and the rehab was going much slower, and they asked him to have a second surgery, and he said no. Then he started missing the rehab assignments. You can't do that, especially with the amount of money they paid him. I found out this morning he has made, out of the initial contract, he's already made $50 million. He played 5 games, and he got hurt. Between the signing bonus, the salary, and then the roster bonus he got this offseason, he's already pocketed $50 million, and he's not showing up for the rehab with the doctors after he turned down the second proposal for surgery.
He figures he's got his bank, doesn't need to put in any effort. What the heck?
But he's a fine player. I mean, he had a really good career in Miami, and I thought that what an acquisition to get him to play alongside Max Crosby.
Yeah.
And every one of those guys in the Raider defensive front had surgery last year. So this is a really ugly end to what they thought was going to be a great investment, and a very expensive investment. So we'll see when it's going to wind up in a grievance in an arbitration hearing. We'll find out.
Yeah, just the tail end of that story, though, about the player getting kissed and then going to HR. Raiders don't go, whining to an HR manager about getting kissed on the forehead. Doesn't sound like Raiders mystique to me.
Just amazing. Different time. Okay, thanks, James.
Okay, and here's Paul. He goes, hey, I love you, Lee. In Preller, we trust. He's made the Padres exciting, and so many teams would love an aggressive general manager to give a small market city hope and relevance.
Yeah, I'll sign that memo completely. I mean, the reason the Padres are relevant, the reason the Padres own this marketplace, the reason this is a very successful business venture now, and the reason Petco Park is destination point is because of what that man does. And he's different. I have no doubt about it. I don't know when he sleeps. I get texts and emails from him all different hours of the day. He's got boots on the ground everywhere. If you just go back in the last 4 years, you could just Google the Padres roster in the last 4 years, and you check off how many players they discovered It's an absolute accumulation of talent. I mean, Robert Suarez was in Mexico failing, was a starter in Japan failing, and they brought him here. And look at him. Nick Martinez was just a guy. They brought him here, and he did well, and now he's got a 3-year contract in Cincinnati. They created Seth Lugo, Michael Wacha. I mean, you can just go through a checklist. I would swear he's had 25 finds of guys that have contributed that they brought on. It's who he is. He knows people, etc. Now, have they whiffed? Yeah. Have they traded the farm system away 3 times? Damn, yes. But still, they've made the product really viable downtown. You buy what I say? Do you buy what I say?
No, I do. I mean, and the other thing is he keeps replenishing the farm system. So yeah, he can trade it all away, and then a year later, him and the scouts they find a way to get more quality.
Yeah, they got a load of pitchers at Class A right now, and some at Double A. But somewhere along the line, don't you have to keep the core of the farm system because Darvish is going to get old, and we don't know whether Musgrove will ever be Musgrove again. And then what becomes of Michael King and Dylan Cease? You're going to need young arms if you keep trading.
Well, that's the financial model. I mean, you're going to need to have 5 to 10 guys that are, making the minimum, and become big contributors in some way to make the finances work. Yeah.
Okay. I agree with you. I'll sign that memo on Preller.
Okay. All right. Let's move on. And, let's go here to, we'll talk a little Angels. Okay. And this is from Timer20. He goes, are the Angels sellers or buyers this trade deadline?
It's a huge question. Maybe semi-sellers. Tyler Anderson's got 1 year left on his contract. It's an affordable contract, but Tyler Anderson's not, I don't think, a difference maker in somebody's rotation. Kyle Hendricks signed a 1-year deal to come home. He's pitched a lot better after kind of a rocky start. He's probably a back end of the rotation guy. I don't see trading Taylor Ward, the left fielder, designated hitter. Obviously, Mike Trout's there, does not want to leave there. Trout's not hitting for average, but he is hitting home runs. But there's still a health issue with Mike Trout, and he can't play in the field right now. He's got to be a DH maybe the rest of the season. So they might move some of those fringe pitchers, but if they could get to 500, that's improvement from 99 losses. But they're still a long ways away from being a true wild card team, I think.
I'm just trying to think, if I'm an Angel fan, would I be happy that they trade away someone like Taylor Ward, who's a productive left fielder? I know the Padres would love to have him. Or if the Angels fan would be upset if they traded away Trout, even if they got like a big load of prospects back. Or does Angel fan like saying, hey man, Perry, let's flip this thing. Let's reinvent this whole franchise, is what we have now ain't working.
Well, they've drafted. I mean, they're doing through the farm system, and they just continue to draft and draft. I think they drafted 14 more pitchers just 2 weeks ago, and they've signed virtually everybody. And they've still got young pitchers that haven't gotten there yet that are having decent minor league seasons. I just don't think they have enough players. I don't know what the solution is if Artie Moreno is not going to be a guy willing to pay luxury tax anymore, because he's been burned a bunch of different times with the Anthony Rendones and the Josh Hamiltons of the world. It's just a tough thing. But you know what the most amazing thing? They are drawing. They drew 40,000 Saturday night at home. So I mean, Angel fans, I look at the box scores a lot, and I see 28,000, 26,000, 28,000, 32,000. And Saturday I saw 40. I said, hey, Angel fan in Orange County. But at the end of the day, that proves how vibrant a market it could be if you put a winner there rather than a team scuffling to be 500.
There's a lot of money there too.
Sure.
A lot of corporate money in Orange County as well, besides Disney. I mean, there's a lot going on there. So yeah, they should be. It seems like such an untapped resource, the Anaheim Angels of LA or whatever the heck their name is.
I concur with you. I'd like to see it different, but owner has to want to make it different, have it be different, have a different business model with, I think, different leadership. I'd like to see Mike Rizzo get a chance. Mike Rizzo's got quite a resume, quite a track record. Why not Anaheim?
Why not? Yeah.
Okay,
right.
Next one.
Okay, let's talk a little Lakers with Joey. He goes, hey, Lakers 2027 lineup will have Joker or Giannis. True or false?
Giannis has not expressed any interest at all in vacating Milwaukee. He could have this year, and there were a lot of rumors that he was going to ask out, and he did not. He's got a special relationship with the community and with ownership. Joker at this point says, I'm not interested and willing to talk about an extension yet. He's up for a super max extension. A year from now, we'll have that same conversation next June as to whether Jokic wants out of Denver, but he likes their people. And, they've been very active in terms of trying to fix what was wrong with the roster, and they think they're going to have themselves a pretty good team, and they've kind of changed the chemistry of that team a little bit with that Michael Porter trade. So that's going to be fascinating to see. But, you're presupposing LeBron is going to exit after this year, and then you're presupposing that they're going to be able to get Luka to sign a supermax contract. Interesting story. I was told over the weekend, Luka has spent 2 months in Croatia nonstop physical training, and he looks so different, and he's lost weight. That this is when we get to see him when training camp opens in September, October. It's going to be a very different Luka Doncic body-wise. So that's kind of fascinating. So maybe it's a maturity level. Maybe it's the understanding you're in LA, you're with the Lakers. There's a pressure points here. You are the guy. But he went the day after the season was over. He made contact with this training management team in his home country in Croatia, and he's been there nonstop doing it. So it's going to be fascinating to see.
Well, good on him for taking the initiative, do what's right for him, and especially being in Tinseltown, and think of all the endorsement opportunities he has. So, but if Joker and Giannis went to the Lakers, they couldn't do a trade because they have no first round picks, right? So the only way they'd be able to do that is if these players were, pure free agents that they could
they're
sign.
not free agents. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You have to do sign-in trades, and you have to incorporate third teams that might have different assets. Too complicated. And again, you're in Denver, you're in Milwaukee. Why would you want to give up your cornerstone player?
Yeah, exactly. Especially if you've won a championship with them.
Yeah, and those guys have not shown any indication they want out. Denver, Minnesota. It's going to be interesting because we're going to roll into October, and I'm just of the opinion right now, because everybody spent their money. The deals are pretty much done. I'm of the opinion the Clippers have a better roster, older roster, but better roster right now than the Lakers have. Think we're going to argue about that in September and October?
I think so.
Damn right.
Yeah. Here we go.
Okay, next one.
Okay, let's keep going. We'll go to Callan, our good friend Callan. He says, hey, afternoon, gents. Despite all the roster turmoil and injury bugs, my goodness, San Diego FC continues to impress. What a win for them on Saturday over Nashville. Snapdragon was rocking.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And they've had a lot of injuries, a lot of setbacks. Guys have been gone, and the season is such a grind. But Chucky Lozano scored the only goal. They got a lot of different people contributing. They need to get everybody injured back healthy, and they need, this final group of games going towards the playoffs. So they become a hit. Soccer fan has really embraced it. The product has been really good. If they had started 0-3-6, maybe a little bit different, but they started out of the gate and have never given up. So far so good.
Are you still sticking to the old way of doing it as wins, losses, ties, rather than wins, ties, losses?
No, I do wins, losses, ties. It's just easy for me to read.
But that's like the old NFL scorecard, right?
Yes.
But hockey, in soccer, it's wins, draws, losses.
Exactly. And you keep looking at it and say, that looks weird to me, but then you realize what it is.
Yeah.
So I'm old school. I'm sorry.
But I'll tell you, San Diego FC is such a thrill to have here locally, and I'm just really excited for them. And it's just unbelievable the year that they're having. Just hope they can keep it up the whole way.
Postseason. Let me see what you're going to do in postseason. Okay, next one.
Okay, some more Dodger talk with Showtime. He goes, hey, I think the Dodgers should be getting Ryan Helsley and Brendan Donovan, who both look quite good against the Padres. I might add Blake Trinan and Snell being back will be a big boost as well. Thanks.
Well, I concur. It's a little odd for St. Louis to finally get into sell mode. Helsley has had a real bounce back season because he was kind of a lost soul last year. He's pitched really well. I like Donovan because he's just a grinder. The one thing that makes those deals doable, Showtime, is the fact the Dodgers have got just a wealth of young players. You can afford to trade young pitching to make a deal like this go through because they got strength in numbers. You can afford put Dustin May in a deal with some of your young players from Oklahoma City. And they've got so many young pitchers at Oak City and at Double-A that, yeah, I think there's potential of a deal. But, the other thing is, does Andrew Friedman want to pay the steep price, or does he just want to pay a 1-for-1 price with Minnesota to rent Harrison Bader? Because his history has been to rent guys too, not go for the big enchilada all the time. So interesting between now and Thursday to see what transpires.
It's just amazing. Like, you just see Trinan and Snell
coming
back, and those guys are both so good. So you said Snell pitched a shutout, for however many innings,
4+ innings, and no hitter for OKC. So he's up, and he's going to start on the weekend. They're going to a 6-man rotation. It's interesting. All the things that you and I talked about in spring training, we had the big list of all the Dodgers, all the rotation.
Oh, yeah.
And, oh my God, how's anybody going to beat? And then they all got hurt.
Yeah.
At this point, they look like we get to August 1st, they're going to turn the corner, and virtually all those injured guys are now back in the rotation, and now Trinan is back in a beleaguered bullpen. So just amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's mind-blowing how they can bring. I mean, it's going to be interesting just watching the transaction list, because there's going to be a lot of good young talent that are going to get bumped down.
Yeah. When we got to the All-Star break, the mid-season evaluation of teams, your dumbass co-host,
yeah,
did he not utter the phrase, "We have yet to see the Dodgers play their best baseball"?
Oh, yeah.
That came out of my mouth. That might be about to happen starting on Friday.
That's an easy call right there. I mean, the Dodgers, and yeah, we knew they were going to be loaded, so here we go.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Let's keep on moving. We'll go to Casey. And actually, she had 2 of them. Let's ask this other one. This is kind of a bit of a tangent on what you just said. Also, you think the Chargers can hold the lead in the NL West? Now, they're all coming back. But, if the Padres make an interesting trade here, do you think they're only 4 games back? I mean, can you see any magic Padres overtaking the Dodgers?
I can't see the Dodgers just continue to slide and falter away. The Dodgers went 5-12, and that's a real problem. The Dodgers are not healthy. So that's a big issue going forward there. Now the Dodgers starting to get all these injured guys back. So keep that in mind. From the Padres' perspective, they're playing about as well as they can, considering how limited they are in the starting rotation. I made this comment last Thursday on the podcast. Then, can you really be optimistic going into the postseason as a wild card team if this is your rotation that San Diego has? If it's Nick Pivetta, and then crossing your fingers on everybody else that has to start in postseason? No, they need more help. They need healthy people. Darvish is not Darvish. We still don't know time frame on a Michael King sighting. And Randy Vasquez is 3 or 4 innings, and that's all Randy Vasquez is. I know maybe you're relying on the 4 horsemen just to carry you every game in postseason. So tough call. The makeup of the Padre rotation right now, John, I just don't like it in terms of being postseason deep.
Well, you need 4 starters, right, for the postseason, not 5. All right. And so Darvish will be one of those, assuming that the Padres make the playoffs.
What kind of Darvish is it?
But yeah, it might only be like, Darvish limited time, maybe like Vasquez.
Now, what are you doing about Cease? If you're trading Cease, that creates a hole in your rotation. But can you trust Cease? Because this is not the vintage Dylan Cease we'd seen before.
You know what? Kolek has been pretty good. That kid, yeah. And then Randy Vasquez, I mean, it's always a wild ride when he's pitching, man. And you're right. He always gets to like 4 2/3 innings, and then Schilt comes and pulls him, and he usually has the lead. And you're thinking this guy would have been eligible for the win. That's happened so many times with him.
He has not won a start. I think it's 12 consecutive starts now.
Yeah, because they pull him right before he's eligible to get the win.
Before it implodes.
Yeah. So, you're right. There's a lot of questions, but I'll tell you what, if the stars align on that Padres pitching, Darvish comes back to form, Michael King comes back, they could be very good.
Could be, but we don't know.
Right.
Here's the other piece of the equation. It's not August yet. Do you know beat LA? They meet 6 more times?
Really? Okay,
Yeah,
that's
in
gonna be good.
August.
It's going to be good.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah.
Only thing missing would be Jurickson Profar jumping up and down in left field.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. Or Tatis, with with the big testicles and right.
Okay, hey, Casey, hope we answered your question. We got a ways to go yet. Thursday, don't miss Thursday's show because, well, baseball's rosters in the pennant chase are going to be really different by the time we hit the air on Thursday and by Friday morning.
Yeah. And there's already been a few deals today. So, okay, let's go to our friend John. This is a little bit of Cooperstown talk. He goes, hey, my favorite speech is from one of the writers,
yes,
Tom Boswell, who said, I've been certain that there is more to sports, more power to move us, more links to bond us, more ways to console us, and more ways to show us our similarities, not our differences, than we acknowledge, and more to write about, too.
Well, as John and I talked about at the onset of the show, baseball is about generations. And when we watch them play, we replay our own memories of what baseball meant to us growing up. So that's the emotional grasp to me to the game. I mean, I follow the game and I cover it and I write about it on my website. We talk about this move and that game and et cetera, et cetera. But it's also with me, it's always an emotional link to what I grew up watching baseball. And John's been to my house. I got a library. My man cave is all bookcases.
Oh, huge. Yeah.
And I got so many historical baseball books. I'm a baseball junkie. And I still have my baseball cards. They're in the back of the closet in a box. I can't get to it, but I still have my baseball cards too.
Sports does bring people together.
Sure.
That's a great thing. It breaks down things and culture. And that's the great thing about international sports, bringing all these nations together. But, the writer, Tom Boswell, why does that name make me think of Mr. Cunningham from Happy Days? Wasn't that the actor named Tom Boswell?
Yeah. Was that not the name? Yeah. That's a good question. Boswell obviously was a legendary guy with the Washington Post.
Oh, that's okay. All right. So, but yeah, I'm just getting my names confused here. But yeah, what a magical time in Cooperstown. Oh, I would have liked to have gone there for an induction. I know a lot of San Diegans made the trip for when Gwynn went in.
And when Trevor went in.
And so that might be something just to have on our scorecard. If we're going to go to all the stadiums, we may as well go to the Hall of Fame on induction day.
The hall is so cool, though. You want to go when there's nobody there, and then you can be there forever. And here what you do is you give your American Express Gold card to the wife. And you tell her, I'll see you back at the hotel at 8:00 tonight. We'll go have a nice dinner at the Lake Otesaga Hotel, which is the historic hotel.
Well, that's what we did when we went. It was funny we were there. My kids were young. They were like maybe 14 and 12. And we were in the Hall of Fame for an hour and a half, 2 hours. And by that time, the kids, the wife they were tapped out. But I wanted to keep going. So what I did is I drove them back to the hotel. And then I drove back to the hall and spent another, 2 or 3 hours just reading and taking in everything.
The library is unbelievable. I lost myself in the library for 4 hours doing research on my dad and my uncle. Mm-hmm. And that was so cool. I've never been to the actual basement archives. I'd love to go there because that's where all the other 400,000 artifacts are. Not everything is on display in the hall.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it is so cool. And when I went, the last time I went a couple of years ago, when we went to the hall and we went through the plaque gallery and I showed my wife the Tony Gwynn plaque. It was so cool. But then we're walking and they have all these different displays. They had the Negro League display and they had a Jackie Robinson Brooklyn Dodger display. And they had an old Pittsburgh Pirate display.
Oh, nice.
And she's the Pirates fan.
Okay.
These girls from West Virginia. So they had the old pirate logo, the old bucko, Jolly Roger, I guess you call him.
Yeah. He looks like Jim Rockwell.
Yeah, and
or Rockford.
It was honoring Clemente, and they had the actual home plate where Mazeroski stepped on the home plate. So she stood on the home plate. I took this picture. So that's what baseball is. It's memories.
Yeah, I mean, it's unlike every other sport in that way. But I never really thought about the archives, but you're right. They probably have so many artifacts. They cycle them around and have different themes, different months. I mean, it's like going to the Louvre. I mean, it's a special place.
One thing they've never done, I wondered why they've never done it. Because we have 30 ballparks, why would you not have a rotating Hall of Fame display at Yankee Stadium, at City Park, where the Mets, where the Phillies play, Cincinnati, San Diego? and actually have an alcove that would have some of the Baseball Hall of Fame artifacts there that fans coming to a Padre game could actually walk through and say, oh, yeah, look at all this memorabilia, just as an example of what Cooperstown is. And like I say, and to all the people on live stream, you want to go to Cooperstown, you go in January when it's cold and snowy upstate, and there is nobody there. And you can go in there at 9 a.m. and you could be there till 7 p.m. if you want, just to lose yourself. Of course, there's no place else to go in Cooperstown in the middle of winter.
Yeah.
It is so cool. Like I said, give the wife the gold card, let her go shopping, tell her you'll see her at 8 o'clock at the Otesaga Hotel.
Okay, you want to keep going? We got some time for some social media?
Do it quick.
Do it quick. All right, let's go here. Let's talk some Charger talk. And this is from Day One Rob. He goes, hey, the Chargers are irrelevant in LA and always will be. A failed owner who failed his fan base and the organization.
Obviously, this guy doesn't like the new Charger uniforms. The Savannah banana color, gold on gold, they look weird to me. The blue on blue looks weird to me too, but they everybody loves the powder blues, and I love the icy whites. The all white uniforms are my most favorite from the years that I was the voice of the Chargers. So the quarterback is not irrelevant. That's a great quarterback. It is interesting. Jim Harbaugh, in a team meeting on the weekend, challenged his players to be what the quarterback is. Says you guys have to play up to be what this guy is, Justin Herbert. So we'll see. I think they're a good team. Got answers. I still need answers at defensive tackle. I love their linebackers. I love their secondary depth. We still have to see what the mix is in the offensive front, who the actual center is. Obviously, with the retirement Mike Williams at such a late date, somebody young guys going to have to step up and become a trustworthy wide receiver. And then we'll see if Najee Harris can be Najee Harris, because if he's not there, then it's all on the shoulders of Omarion Hampton, number one draft pick. That's an awful lot to ask a rookie to be the heavy-duty guy. So they got questions to be answered, and we're going to sneak preview Thursday with the kids. They're not going to play the veterans. The kids are going to play against the Lions in the Hall of Fame game in Canton.
Now, that quote you just shared from Harbaugh about Herbert.
Play up to Herbert.
Play up to Herbert. That kind of has like a teacher's pet vibe. I mean, how do you think that would go down in the locker room? I mean, people go, oh, yeah, the quarterback, the golden child. Everyone needs to be like him.
He is the cornerstone of the franchise.
He is. But I'm just wondering if everybody on that roster buys in on that.
I think so, because he's such a warrior. He's played hurt every year, and he never comes out of the lineup. And his statistics are mind-boggling considering what he doesn't have around him. If there had been no Justin Herbert, do you know how many 3-13 seasons that have? Holy moly.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be a whole different picture.
On we go. Next one.
Okay, let's talk some Dodgers here. And this is from Joe Barr. He goes, hey, if you want the best offensive productions from a couple of these hitters, Ohtani should not be pitching. He should stay at DH. Betts should not be the shortstop. It takes up too much of his mental and physical energy. They should put him back in right field where he belongs, and his offensive production will definitely increase, because he looks horrible at the plate, and he doesn't even look good at shortstop.
I concur with a piece of that, and I don't know how much of this has got to do with the illness and the loss of strength in the spring. He's lost his bat speed. There's no doubt about that. He's a different guy at home plate right now. Is that because of the position? He denies it. He says that's playing shortstop is not the reason I'm not hitting right now. And they've done all the metrics, and the metrics say his bat speed is way off from what it was before. So, but you make a trade, maybe you get a different shortstop, because I got Miguel Rojas. You put him at what do you do with Kim? Kim can play second, but you got, Kim playing third a little bit because of the Max Muncy injury. But we'll just see what they do at the trade deadline, because they import somebody. It's going to change the mix of who plays where going forward. If they get Brandon Donovan, I really like him. He's a grinder. That changes the infield. But at this point, I don't think they're going to turn it upside down. And in terms of Ohtani, I mean, he has not failed in 4 starts. And the next start's going to be a 4-inning go. They say 6-man rotation effective this weekend. 6-man rotation, which means Yamamoto does not wear down, and obviously you give Snell bigger breaks between his laborious starts and Ohtani once per week, and they do have the depth. So it's going to be fascinating to see who they come out of the trade deadline with, and then what they do in terms of rearranging lineup, and then how it all impacts the rotation.
So is Conforto sort of out of the picture in left field? Is that where this is going?
Could be, but you never know. Injuries change everything. Conforto's not hit up until this week, and suddenly I got hot again. And he's hit. He's hit with power. Prior, he's hit for average, but boy, he's been miserable this season.
Interesting. It's an interesting take there by Joe, because it does take a whole different mental energy to play right field and shortstop. I mean, so I could see how that would have an impact. And on top of it, you're saying that health issue with Mookie.
Well, he lost 20 pounds. He lost all of his strength, I think. Not hitting home runs the way he has. And obviously his batting average is substandard, 248 or something like that. So we'll see. Trade deadline. But by Thursday, something's going to happen.
Yeah, this is a great time of the year.
Don't miss this podcast. Okay, couple more.
Okay, let's talk Angels. And we're kind of doing the rounds in SoCal. This is from Miller. Hey, really trying to hammer this. Can't develop a starting pitcher narrative. The Angels are the only team that hasn't had a pitcher miss a start this season. He knows what he's doing.
Well, at the end of the day, do they have star pitching, or is it just filler pitching? Kikuchi's, he's a proven veteran. But when Hendrick is your number 2 guy, the Soriano kid has pitched well in chunks of time and then gotten lit up, and everybody else is just a refugee from Salt Lake City. I don't know that they have enough starting pitching. Starting pitching to be good enough to be, maybe we're a 500 team, or we're talking about starting pitching vis-a-vis wildcard team. Angels just don't have enough right now. So I can't sign the memo that everything is great just outside Disneyland with that ballpark ball club. Not yet. Still need more players.
Well, that was always the rap, that Artie Moreno would never sign a pitcher as a free agent, couldn't draft a pitcher, and then they flipped the table 100% and just drafted all pitchers. So, I mean, any of those guys, I think that year they drafted all pitchers, have any of them made it to the big leagues yet?
Not with any impact. I mean, the next one, I think, coming is Caden Dana. He's a young college guy. Now, they just drafted a really good number 1 pick at a UCSB. I don't know that he's anywhere near major league ready, but we'll just have to see whether
that guy was a reach in the draft too.
Well, he was a surprise pick. There were guys at Tennessee and LSU that they could have had that they didn't. Instead, they drafted this guy. He's got great statistics. He's a big, strong power pitcher, but we'll see. Does he go to Arizona, the camp league? Do they send him to Class A to start? How quickly is he going to get acclimated to pro baseball? He's got to be more than just a thrower. He is a thrower right now. So I don't think they have enough pitchers.
Yeah. That's a tough go for them.
Okay, next one.
Okay, let's talk a little salary cap in MLB. And this is from P2 the G. He goes, hey, no salary cap, salary minimum. Teams should be mandated to spend 80% of their revenue share.
Bingo. The corporate name is Florida spending. That's the luxury tax kind of acts as a cap. So I don't need conversation about a cap as long as the union's already agreed to luxury tax. And that number will go up as the gross revenues go up. But we need to have a floor to spending. You're taking revenue sharing money, that money has to be turned back in to player salaries. And I guarantee you, P2, if everybody had a floor to spending, say you had to spend $120 million or $140 million based on revenue sharing. If everybody had to spend $140 million, you'd get good second-level guys, free agents, going to Pittsburgh, going to Kansas City, going to wherever, Miami, Tampa, and then make that product better. And if the product gets better, those teams are in the wild card race. And then everybody's going crazy in Tampa or Pittsburgh if their team's in a wild card race. That's where I think the union has just totally missed the boat completely. That a Florida spending works in the NFL, the NBA, and the NHL. Do that. I don't need a cap. We got a luxury tax. Do the Florida spending. More money, it goes into more pockets of good, decent ball players. They're going to make the mid-level markets better. Does that make sense?
Well, it does. And like the Pirates right now, I mean, I know their payroll is less than $100 million, and they're dumping their players. They're in sell mode, aren't they?
Well, they got Paul Skeens, and that's it.
That's it. So everybody not named Skeens is on the block, and like Mitch Keller and all these other guys.
Yeah. Now they've got some more pitchers coming that are really good. It's a byproduct of having had lousy seasons and drafting high, and they got a bunch of kids. They haven't gotten there yet, but they're going to get there.
Yeah. I mean, I know I used to always oppose the idea of the salary cap, and because I'm more of a free market guy, but the objective here in the league is to have that sort of not parity is, I don't know if that's really the right word, but a little bit more balance in the league, so you don't have big market teams dominating all the time. And so, have they been able to pull that off? Every once in a while, you'll get a Kansas City Royals, but it's rare when that sort of thing happens.
So that's going to be the bone of contention. And the union is dead set against salary cap. That's what led to the Bryce Harper confrontation with Rob Manfred over the weekend. The luxury tax takes care of that. So the big teams will spend and the big teams will throw money into the pot. How they share it has to be debated. Obviously, the revenue streams with the media landscape contracts has now drastically changed with the death of the regional sports networks. That's going to be an issue. But to me, a floor to spending that mandates every team has to spend a base minimum means there's going to be more money available for the second and third tier guy to go there. Okay, we have covered it. All I got to say is A, thank you for being part of this. B, give us a thumbs up. Give us a 5-star rating. It helps us a great deal. C, share with everybody what we do Mondays and Thursdays at 1:30. And D, do not miss Thursday's trade deadline show. It's going to be busy. It's going to be phenomenal. I guarantee you by the time we hit the air, rosters will be changing. This podcast brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Centers, 9 locations to serve you. Go to DIXIELINE.com to see all the unique things that they offer you, the homeowner. John, take a deep breath, get your pen, your pencil, your rosters out, because we'll be moving players from team to team between now and Thursday.
It's awesome. When you get really close to that deadline, they flood in and they even trickle even after the clock shuts down.
We'll be talking about it Thursday. Thank you so much for being part of our team. It's always great to have you with us on Hacksaw's Headlines.
Join us again for Hacksaw's Headlines on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And find the audio version on your favorite podcast app. For more content, go to LeeHacksawHamilton.com.